So why do we get stuck? You know the feeling. You're smart, you're driven, you're putting in the effort, but you just feel like you're spinning your wheels. Well, in this explainer, we're going to unpack exactly why that happens using a really powerful new lens called mindset debt. Let's dive in.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about the real cost of being stuck. Then, I'll introduce you to this core idea of mindset debt. We'll look at how we get it in the first place, the crazy interest it charges us over time, and most importantly, a solid plan to start paying it down.
Okay, let's start with something I'm pretty sure every high performer has felt at some point. That frustrating moment when you realize that just trying harder isn't working anymore.
Does this ring a bell? You get this huge burst of motivation, right? You start a new habit, you're making real progress. And then before you know it, you're right back where you started. It's like you know the playbook by heart, but some invisible force is creating friction, making you work twice as hard for half the results.
And here's what I really want you to hear. This is not a personal failure. This isn't about you being lazy or not having enough discipline. It's a systems issue. The operating system running in your mind, all those beliefs and rules, it's just outdated. It's like trying to run the latest app on a 10-year-old phone. Of course there are going to be glitches.
So this brings us to the big idea of this whole explainer. Let's finally put a name to this systems issue, a name that makes its hidden cost totally clear.
We call it mindset debt. Think of it exactly like financial debt, but for your mind. You borrowed a belief a long time ago, maybe in childhood, maybe in your first job, because it helped you. It helped you succeed, or maybe just helped you survive. But now, years later, you're still making interest payments on that old loan, and it's costing you energy, clarity, and momentum every single day.
And please, let this part sink in. This is not about beating yourself up for having wrong beliefs. So many of these beliefs were incredibly useful. They were assets. They got you to where you are. The only question that matters now is that belief still worth the price you're paying for it today?
So how do we end up with this debt in the first place? Well, it usually sneaks in through 4 really common, almost invisible thought patterns.
Let's quickly break these down. First up, cognitive rigidity. This is when we take one way of seeing things and treat it like it's the absolute truth. Number 2 is identity lock-in. You know, when a past survival skill becomes your whole identity, like, I'm the person who always figures it out alone. Great then, maybe not so great now. Third, we've got emotional rules. These are the secret deals we make with ourselves, like, I can finally relax when my inbox is at 0. And last, there's avoided inquiry. These are the beliefs that feel so obvious or realistic that we never even think to question them.
Okay, now for the part that really stinks. Like any debt, mindset debt charges interest. And these aren't just little one-off payments. No, this stuff compounds silently, day after day, and it drains you in the areas of your life that matter most.
So what does this interest actually feel like? Well, emotionally, it's that constant low-level stress that you can't quite put your finger on, or getting completely set off by something tiny. When it comes to decisions, it's making simple choices feel like life or death, and getting stuck in overthinking. For performance, it's that classic boom and bust cycle of inconsistency. And in your relationships, it's having the exact same fight, just with different details over and over again.
And why is this so critical right now? Because the world is moving faster than ever before. A belief that served you perfectly 5 years ago could be a massive liability today. The faster things change on the outside, the more expensive it is to have a rigid, outdated map on the inside. Inflexibility is literally a tax on your potential.
Okay, so the big question is, what do we do about it? How do we stop paying this invisible tax and start freeing up our energy? Well, here's a super practical, 3-step plan to refinance your beliefs.
First, it's awareness. This is like doing an audit on your own mind. You ask, which of my beliefs is costing me more than it's giving me? Step 2 is inquiry. This is where you refinance the belief by questioning it, treating it like a bad investment you need to get rid of. And third, integration. The goal here is not perfection, okay? It's about becoming more flexible, about lowering that internal interest rate, and getting back on your feet faster when you stumble.
And this whole idea of inquiry, it's not new. It's built on the work of some absolute giants. You've got Tony Robbins' techniques for literally interrupting and scrambling a limiting belief. You got Byron Katie's 4 powerful questions, starting with, is it true? And you have Michael A. Singer's profound work on just stepping back and becoming the silent observer of your own mind. These are all incredible tools for this refinancing process.
This concept right here from Tony's work is a perfect example of mindset debt. Imagine your brain links money to pleasure, freedom, security, fun, but it also links it to pain, greed, judgment, losing friends. Your brain is getting mixed signals. It doesn't know whether to run towards money or away from it. And the result? Self-sabotage. You stay stuck. Inquiry is the tool that untangles those cross wires for good.
I'm going to say this again because it is so incredibly important. The point of all this is not to achieve some kind of perfect belief system. The goal is way more practical. It's to lower the internal friction that's slowing you down so you can shift your emotional state faster and take clean, powerful action. It's about using your energy to build the life you want, not wasting it fighting yourself.
So let's bring this all home with one last question for you. And I want you to really sit with this for a second. What is one belief, one rule, one part of your identity that you know is quietly charging you interest every single day? And what would change in your business, your health, your relationships if you just decided you were done paying for it?